The witch doctor gave Ngozi a portion, telling her to put it into Anyin's food and she should make sure Anyin eats the food. The next day, Ngozi added the portion into Anyin's food and brought the food for Anyin to eat. Ngozi watched as her sister ate the food with contempt and hate for her. She was happy that her sister was finally going to die. Once upon a time, there were two sisters who lived with their parents in a small village called Iwu. The younger sister, named Anyin, was beautiful, kind, gentle, and intelligent. The elder sister, named Ngozi, was also very beautiful, but she was mischievous and adventurous. Their father was the village chief, and their mother was a trader. Their parents loved their daughter equally, but Anyin was their favorite. They gave her the best clothes, the best food, and the best education. Anyin, on the other hand, was a very beautiful and intelligent young girl who loved smiling. People loved her and she was always preferred by people more than Ngozi. Anyin was excellent in school than Ngozi. This made her parents even love her more. Ngozi became so jealous of Anyin. She tried so much to copy Anyin, who has a better and unique way of doing things, but it wasn't just working for her. As a result of all this, she hated Anyin with passion. Ngozi and Anyin became serious rivals. Ngozi could instigate her friends to see Anyin as a bad person. Ngozi could frame up lies against Anyin and conspire with her friends to heap lies and exaggerate her wrong, so that her mom could hate Anyin and begin to love her more. One day, Ngozi stole necklace, earrings, and different ornaments from her mother's jewelry box and placed it inside Anyin's bag. When her mother began to look for them, Ngozi lied to her mother and told her that she saw Anyin stealing from her jewelry box. Her mother didn't believe Ngozi at first, but after so much pressure from Ngozi to search Anyin's bag, they found the jewelries there. Anyin was beaten for the crime she never committed and was left under the rain to cry her eyes out. It gave Ngozi joy to see her mother beat and scold Anyin for things she didn't do. Despite all that, things always work out for Anyin, and wherever she goes, people love her easily. Ngozi felt that their parents did not love her as much as they loved Anyin. She saw Anyin as a competitor and a challenge to herself. But one day, Ngozi decided to get revenge on Anyin. She went to the village witch doctor and asked him to cast a spell on Anyin. She said, "I seek that you give me something to finish my sister. All I have ever desired and wanted she has. She has been a very big challenge to me. Give me something to snap life out of her." The witch doctor replied her with a question. "Young lady, are you sure this is what you want?" And Ngozi replied, "Yes, that is what I desire." The witch doctor gave Ngozi a portion, telling her to put it into Anyin's food and she should make sure Anyin eats the food. The next day, Ngozi added the portion into Anyin's food and brought the food for Anyin to eat. Anyin, who had nothing in mind, was so happy that her sister has begun to love her again. She ate the food without knowing that her food has been poisoned by her own sister, Ngozi. Ngozi watched as her sister ate the food with contempt and hate for her. She was happy that her sister was finally going to die. 2 days after Anyin ate the poisonous food, suddenly she started to feel strange. She became weak day by day and dizzy. She could not walk or talk. They took her to the same witch doctor that has given Ngozi the poison she gave to her sister. But when they got there, he told them he could not help her. He said that the only way to break the spell was to find a person who had cast it. They asked Ngozi if she knew who had cast the spell, but she denied it. She said, "I love my sister so much and could never do anything to hurt her." But their parents did not believe Ngozi. They knew that Ngozi was jealous of Anyin, and they suspected that Ngozi was the one who had cast the spell. The parents decided to keep Anyin away from Ngozi. Their father sent her to live with her auntie, who was a healer and a herbalist in a faraway village called Obodi. Anyin spent 3 months in her auntie's house healing. After the 4th month, luckily for her, she eventually recovered from the spell. But after she recovered, she refused to go back home. She preferred staying in her auntie's house, where she could be free from Ngozi's trouble and mischievous deeds. One morning, while Anyin was going to the market to buy some foodstuff for her auntie, she met a very handsome man who was a prince and the son of king in Obodi village. The man came after Anyin and asked that he could love to be her friend. Anyin accepted. After 2 weeks, the prince invited Anyin to his kingdom and showed her around his palace. Anyin was so astonished to see how beautiful his palace was, and they became lovers. Finally, the prince fell in love with Anyin and decided to marry Anyin. Anyin traveled back to her hometown to tell her parents about her new suitor who could be coming to their home to ask for her hand in marriage and pay for her bride price. When her parents heard this news, they were filled with happiness and were overjoyed. However, Ngozi was very unhappy. She began plotting how to stop the marriage. First, she started with making trouble, saying she was the elder sibling and could never allow Anyin, who was her younger sibling, get married before her. Her parents tried to stop her and make her see reasons why it wasn't a bad idea to let her younger sibling marry before her, but Ngozi felt cheated. She made a very dangerous and sinister plan for her sister, and she decided to use Anyin's weakness against her. On the day Anyin was to get married, that fateful morning, as the marriage preparation was going on, Ngozi pretended to be happy, went to meet her sister Anyin with a fake smile on her face. She called her a sweet pet name, Nne. Then she said to her, "There is some beautiful surprise I have prepared for you." Anyin was excited and can't wait to see the gifts. She asked her, "Where are they?" She replied, "I kept them along the village stream. Come along with me to the village stream. I will show you so many wonders." Anyin replied, "Can't you get the surprises here? I can't go out the village stream. I am already dressed for my marriage ceremony. I am sorry, Ngozi. I can't come along with you to the village stream." But Ngozi kept persuading her, making her believe everything was okay and she meant no harm. Anyin became suspicious of her sister. She knew how mischievous her sister can be. On a second thought, she thought there is no reason for her to be too careful of her only sister, so she decided to go along with her. She immediately hurried up and they began their journey to the village river. Along the way, Ngozi came up with the strategic idea to lure her sister far away from the village river. to rather a very dangerous forest where no one could hear or see her when she carried out her dangerous acts. So she decided to lie to her sister. She said to her, ever since she left, the village authority has banned people from walking through the village stream, and also that she has something beautiful she wants to show her at the village forest. Anyin was very surprised and a bit suspicious of her sister. Anyin asked her, but where do people fetch water if they are not allowed to pass through the village stream road? Ngozi told her, from the river inside the forest. Anyin replied, but the place is dangerous. Why would anyone go there? Ngozi told her, that was where all the villagers fetch water and nothing happened to them. Ngozi was able to convince Anyin because she has been away from the village for a long time and had no idea what has been happening. Poor Anyin believed her sister and they started embarking on a journey to the village forest river. When they go to a certain point, Ngozi saw a lake inside the forest. She said to herself, it will be very much easier if I push her into the lake. Ngozi went close to the lake and told her sister to come and see the surprise. As Anyin approached close to the lake, she jumped into the lake with her sister and made sure she pushed her into the deeper side of the lake. She knew Anyin's weakness. Anyin doesn't know how to swim. She took advantage of that and pushed her deeply into the deeper side of the lake and left her sister there. Back at the village, preparation was still going. Her mother and father were so busy that they never noticed the disappearance of Anyin. Ngozi arrived at the village. When she got home, she sneaked into Anyin's room, which was meant to be the bride's room, dressed up herself like the bride and pretended to be Anyin. She made her hairstyle look exactly like that of her sister, and because she and her sister looked so much alike, no one was able to recognize that it wasn't Anyin. When she stepped out at the hall, the prince was a bit skeptical about her. She asked, how come Anyin added so much weight? But he never thought about that since she looked so much like Anyin, and Anyin never told the prince that she had a sister, so it was difficult for the prince to know it wasn't her. Back at the forest, Anyin was still inside the lake. Luckily for her, she was floating on the surface of the water. She was able to survive there. Anyin kept screaming loudly and crying out for help, but fortunately for her, a farmer who plants rice by the side of the river heard her screaming. He traced the sound of her voice and found her inside the lake. He rescued her and he asked Anyin how she found herself inside the well, but Anyin told her she was pushed into the well by her sister. The farmer took pity upon Anyin and took her back to the village and to a point where Anyin could be able to recognize the road to her home. By the time Anyin got home, the ceremony has already ended. It was almost time for Ngozi and the prince to leave. When Anyin burst into the scene, she saw her sister wearing a veil and bridal clothing made for her. When the prince saw Anyin, he realized that the woman he was about to take home was not Anyin, his wife. He became furious and he ordered that Ngozi should be locked up in a prison for deceiving him. Anyin burst into tears and narrated how Ngozi betrayed her. Ngozi knew that this time she was not going to escape the punishment from her parents. She tried to run, but she was captured by the village youth and was imprisoned by the king of Iwu. Anyin's parents were disappointed that she can do such an evil act to her only sister. Finally, Anyin got married to the prince while Ngozi rot in the king's prison. After 2 months, she was finally banished from Iwu kingdom. Anyin never forgave her sister for what she has done to her.